The story of the Igbo people is not just the story of a single tribe in Africa. It is the story of survival, resilience, creativity, and the unshakable determination of a people who have carried their identity across centuries of struggle, displacement, and triumph. To speak about why Igbo heritage still shapes African identity today is to speak about a truth that refuses to be buried, a truth that has outlived empires, outlasted slavery, resisted colonial rule, and still breathes in the hearts of millions across the globe. The Igbo people stand as one of the clearest mirrors of African strength because their heritage is not locked away in forgotten books or crumbling ruins. It is alive in their language, in their customs, in their songs, in their markets, in their inventions, and in their spirit of community. Their story is not only about their past, it is about Africa's present and the foundation of Africa's future. The Igbo, living in the southeastern part of what is today Nigeria, have for centuries carried within their culture an understanding of freedom that few societies in history could match. They were a people who refused centralized kingship, building instead a system of governance rooted in equality, discussion, and balance. Each village, each clan, each gathering of elders became a parliament of voices where every man and woman mattered. This is not just political structure, it is a philosophy of dignity, a philosophy that declared long before European ideas of democracy that every person has worth, every voice has power, and every life deserves to be heard. When Africans today speak of unity, of independence, of self-determination, they echo the deep political traditions of the Igbo, who built a world where power belonged not to a crown but to the community itself. This heritage was tested in the fires of history. The transatlantic slave trade tore Igbo families apart, shipping countless sons and daughters across the ocean in chains. Yet even in the holds of slave ships, Igbo culture fought back. Oral accounts tell us of the Igbo Landing in Georgia, where enslaved Igbo men and women refusing to live in bondage chose to walk into the waters chanting, "The water brought us, the water will take us home." Their defiance became legend, a testament that African identity cannot be erased by chains or drowned by oceans. It is this spirit of resistance, this refusal to be broken, that continues to inspire the African diaspora. Every black man and woman in the Americas who raises their head high against oppression is carrying a spark of that Igbo fire. Igbo heritage is not only in defiance, it is in creativity. Across centuries, the Igbo have been inventors, traders, and builders of knowledge. From their ancient bronze works of Igbo-Ukwu, which astonished archaeologists with their unmatched craftsmanship, to their dynamic marketplaces that fueled economic networks across West Africa, the Igbo remind us that Africa has always been a continent of innovators. Even in modern times, the Igbo are recognized for their entrepreneurial spirit, their ability to build wealth and opportunity from nothing, to turn small beginnings into lasting legacy. In every African marketplace, in every young entrepreneur who dares to dream of building something greater, the influence of Igbo heritage is present, whispering the truth that African people have always been creators, not beggars. Language carries the soul of a people, and Igbo language carries the wisdom of centuries. Its proverbs, its storytelling traditions, its songs of harvest, its chants of war and victory, all serve as vessels of memory, reminding Africans everywhere that identity is not only in the bloodline, but in the spoken word. To hear Igbo spoken is to hear the rhythm of ancestors, to hear the heartbeat of Africa before the arrival of the colonial tongue. This is why preserving Igbo language is not only about one ethnic group, it is about defending the memory of Africa itself. For when language dies, memory fades. But when language lives, identity endures. When colonialism swept through Africa, the Igbo once again proved their unyielding spirit. They resisted domination, not only with weapons, but with ideas. They valued education, seized opportunities to learn, and built leaders who could challenge colonial authority. They fought in the struggle for Nigeria's independence, and carried on even in the face of devastation during the Biafran War, where millions perished. Yet even after famine, after destruction, after the attempt to erase their place in history, the Igbo people rose again. Their villages were rebuilt, their businesses reopened, their children sent to school, and their identity remained unshaken. This resilience is not just Igbo, it is African. It tells every child born on this continent and every child of the diaspora that no matter how many times Africa is beaten down, Africa rises again. Heritage is not only about memory, it is about legacy. Today, Igbo heritage shapes African identity by being a living example of what it means to honor the past while moving toward the future. Igbo art inspires African artists. Igbo literature influences African writers. Igbo entrepreneurial spirit empowers African economies. Igbo resistance energizes African activists. Their values of community, respect, hard work, and freedom are not confined to Nigeria. They have seeped into the veins of the entire continent, whether in the music of Afrobeat, which draws from Igbo rhythms, or in the pride of black communities across the Caribbean and the Americas who trace their lineage back to Igbo ancestors. The heritage continues to shape minds, movements, and nations. To speak of why Igbo heritage still shapes African identity today is to acknowledge that the story of the Igbo is the story of Africa refusing to forget itself. For centuries, colonizers tried to teach Africans to be ashamed of their traditions, to see their languages as primitive, to view their ways of life as backward. But the Igbo never surrendered their pride. They held on to their dances, their masquerades, their festivals, their honor of the ancestors, and in doing so they showed the world that heritage is not weakness. Heritage is power. Heritage is the foundation on which a people stand tall, no matter how strong the winds of history blow against them. Africa today is at a crossroads. Its youth stand between a past scarred by colonization and a future filled with possibility. In this moment, Igbo heritage speaks louder than ever, reminding Africa that its strength lies not in imitation of others, but in the embrace of its own identity. The lesson of the Igbo is that Africans do not need permission to be proud. They do not need validation to be strong. They do not need to abandon their heritage to succeed. Instead, success comes when they remember who they are, when they root themselves deeply in the soil of their ancestors, and build upward toward the skies of their dreams. This is why Igbo heritage still shapes African identity today, because it is a living testimony that Africa's past is not a burden, but a weapon, not a chain, but a shield, not a memory of loss, but a guide to freedom. It teaches that identity is not something given by outsiders, but something forged within, tested in struggle, and passed on through generations. As long as the Igbo people continue to live their truth, as long as their language is spoken, their festivals danced, their markets filled, their voices raised, the whole of Africa has a mirror to look into and say, this is who we are, this is where we come from, this is why we will never be broken. And so the world must understand, Igbo heritage is not only Igbo, it is African, it is diasporic, it is global. It shapes African identity because it shows that to be African is to be resilient, to be creative, to be free, to be proud, to be unshakable. Long after empires crumble, long after borders change, long after the names of colonizers are forgotten, the heritage of the Igbo will still live because it is carried in the bones of their people, in the rhythm of their drums, in the courage of their heart, and in the destiny of a continent that refuses to be defined by anyone but itself. That is why Igbo heritage still shapes African identity today, and why it will continue to shape it tomorrow. The Igbo spirit of freedom is not a story written in books alone. It is a way of life carved into the very soul of a people who understood long before the modern world began to speak of democracy that power was never meant to rest in the hands of a single throne, but to flow like a river among the people themselves. In the heartlands of southeastern Nigeria, villages rose not with kings who claimed to be gods, not with rulers who demanded unquestioning obedience, but with councils of elders, gatherings of men and women, and assemblies where decisions were weighed like gold on the scale of justice. The Igbo believed that freedom was not a gift given by one man to another, but a natural state of being, a right born into every child, a duty carried by every adult, and a shield that protected the dignity of the community. They refused centralized kingship, not because they did not understand it, but because they understood too well that unchecked power corrupts the soul of nations. And so they built a society where every voice could speak, every dispute could be heard, and every person had a place in the circle of decision-making. This was not chaos, this was harmony shaped through dialogue, balance, and respect, and it carried the message that true freedom is built not on domination but on shared responsibility. When we look at Africa today and hear leaders call for democracy, we must remember that the seeds of that dream were planted long before colonizers arrived with their lectures about governance. The Igbo had already shown the world a model where justice was a common table and leadership was service, not control. The world may celebrate Greece as the birthplace of democracy, but long before Athens raised its voice, the Igbo were practicing a form of governance that gave dignity to the human spirit. The assembly of the people, the voice of the community, the collective agreement, these were the pillars of their world, and they continue to echo in modern African struggles for equality. Whenever African nations rise against dictatorship, whenever the people demand that their leaders be accountable, whenever citizens insist that their future cannot be decided by a single hand, but by the will of the people, they are living out the ancient Igbo spirit of freedom. This spirit was tested many times in history, and yet it never died. During the transatlantic slave trade, when countless Igbo men and women were torn from their villages, they carried with them not only memories of home, but also the deep conviction that no man could own another. They were known for their fierce resistance, their refusal to bow even when chained. In the Americas, their descendants would rise in rebellion after rebellion, guided by the same belief their ancestors held, that freedom is worth more than life itself. In the story of Igbo Landing, where captured Igbo chose death in the waters over slavery in the fields, we see not just tragedy but the ultimate declaration of freedom, that life without dignity is no life at all. That act of collective defiance still inspires African identity today, reminding generations that freedom is never begged for. It is seized, protected, and if necessary, paid for with the highest price. The Igbo spirit of freedom was not only political, it was woven into the fabric of daily life. Their markets were vibrant centers of trade, not controlled by the crown or monopolized by the few, but managed by the people, especially by women who held extraordinary influence in commerce. These markets were not just places of exchange, but living demonstrations of equality, of the belief that everyone deserved a chance to build, to prosper, and to contribute to the strength of the community. In the balance of male and female authority, in the role of councils and age grades, in the reliance on dialogue over decree, the Igbo showcased a society where freedom meant participation and responsibility. This balance is a lesson that still shapes African identity today, for a people cannot claim freedom unless every hand has a role in shaping the destiny of the whole. Colonial rule sought to break this spirit by imposing foreign systems of governance, by installing chiefs where none existed, by silencing the communal voice and replacing it with a hierarchy that served outside interests. Yet even under the weight of colonial authority, the Igbo spirit of freedom resisted. Communities found ways to maintain their assemblies, to preserve their customs, to remind their children that true authority comes from the people and not from imposed rulers. The Women's War of 1929, when thousands of Igbo women rose up against unjust colonial taxation, was not only a protest but a living continuation of their heritage, a reminder that when freedom is threatened, the Igbo do not wait for saviors, they rise as one to defend it. In modern times, the echoes of this spirit continue to shape Africa's struggle for justice. The Igbo teach us that freedom is not about titles, it is not about who sits on a throne, it is about whether the people themselves can speak, act, and live without fear. Every movement for independence across the continent drew strength from this principle, that Africans could govern themselves, that no foreign hand had the right to dictate their destiny. And even today, as nations wrestle with corruption, dictatorship, and inequality, the Igbo heritage serves as a compass pointing back to the truth. Freedom is the natural state of a people, and to deny it is to deny humanity itself. This spirit of freedom is also shaping the identity of Africans in the diaspora, across the Americas, in the Caribbean, in Europe, in every corner of the world where African descendants live. The yearning for justice, equality, and dignity echoes the same Igbo philosophy. The protests for civil rights, the calls for equality, the refusal to be silenced, all of these are carried on the same current of thought that once made the Igbo reject kingship and embrace the assembly of the people. It is no wonder that Igbo identity resonates deeply with African Americans and other members of the diaspora, who see in their struggles a reflection of their ancestors' belief that every man and woman is born free. To expand this even further, the Igbo spirit of freedom is not just a legacy of the past, it is a living challenge to the present. It calls on African leaders to remember that their authority is meaningless if it does not serve the people. It reminds every African youth that silence in the face of injustice is betrayal of the very bloodline they inherit. It whispers to every market woman, every farmer, every student, every worker that their voice matters, that their presence in society is not insignificant, that freedom is theirs to claim and protect. And most of all, it teaches that freedom is not merely the absence of chains, but the presence of dignity, opportunity, and equality for all. So when we speak of African identity today, we cannot separate it from the Igbo spirit of freedom, because it is one of the clearest and most enduring examples of Africa's ancient wisdom guiding modern destiny. The Igbo remind us that freedom is not a foreign idea imported from Europe, but a native truth rooted deep in African soil. They remind us that freedom cannot be granted by rulers, because it is already owned by the people. They remind us that freedom is not fragile but strong enough to survive wars, slavery, colonialism, and still burn bright in the present. And they remind us most of all that as long as Africans honor this heritage, no empire, no oppressor, no dictator will ever truly conquer their spirit. This is why the Igbo spirit of freedom is more than a story of the past. It is the breath of Africa's identity today and the guiding light for its future. The unbreakable identity of the Igbo in the diaspora is one of the most powerful testaments to the endurance of African heritage. A story that proves beyond doubt that chains cannot erase memory, oceans cannot drown surge, and generations of separation cannot silence a people's voice. When the transatlantic slave trade ripped through West Africa and tore countless men, women, and children from their homes, it was the Igbo who carried that nightmare and identity so strong that it outlived the trauma, the brutality, and the systematic attempt to crush their humanity. To understand how Igbo heritage still shapes African identity today, one must walk through the shadows of the slave ships, listen to the cries of those who refused to live as captives, and feel the echo of a people who chose death over dishonor, whose defiance has become a beacon for every oppressed community across the globe. The story of Igbo Landing in 1803, when a group of newly enslaved Igbo men and women brought to the coast of Georgia chose to walk into the waters rather than serve in bondage, is not simply a tragic tale, but a declaration, a manifesto of identity that shouted to the world, "We may be stolen, but we cannot be broken." That single act of collective resistance has been preserved in legend, song, and oral history throughout the African diaspora, and it continues to inspire generations who see in it the refusal to bow, the refusal to surrender, the refusal to allow oppression to define who they are. The unbreakable identity of the Igbo is not only remembered in acts of defiance, but also in the survival of culture. On the plantations of the Americas, where masters sought to strip Africans of their languages, their customs, and their memories, the Igbo and their descendants found ways to preserve fragments of themselves. They embedded their proverbs into new dialects, they transformed their songs into spirituals, they carried their dances into the rhythms of new lands, and they planted seeds of Igbo memory into the fertile soil of diaspora identity. Across the Caribbean, in places like Jamaica, Trinidad, and Haiti, echoes of Igbo heritage can be heard in the accents, in the music, in the rituals, in the very names of community. Even when children of the diaspora no longer spoke Igbo fluently, they carried the soul of the language in their cadences, in the way they phrased wisdom, in the way they related to one another. Identity is not always in the surface details, it is in the unshakable heartbeat that refuses to stop. That is why Igbo identity remains alive in the diaspora, because it was never just about rituals or words, it was about spirit, and spirit cannot be chained. What makes this story even more powerful is the fact that the Igbo carried not only resilience but also philosophy into the diaspora. Their strong belief in personal freedom, in equality, and in the dignity of every individual did not vanish in the face of slavery. Instead, it became a seed planted into the wider struggle of Black people across the world. The revolts, uprisings, and everyday resistances on plantations were fueled in part by this inherited conviction that no one was born to be a slave. From the maroon communities in the Caribbean to the revolts in the Americas, Igbo descendants were often at the forefront, channeling the fire of their ancestors, who once refused to live under kings at home in Africa. Their courage became part of the backbone of African resistance abroad. When enslaved Africans broke their chains, they were not only seeking physical freedom, they were reclaiming an identity that had been threatened, but not destroy. In this way, Igbo heritage shaped not just one group, but the entire African diaspora's understanding of resilience, showing them that their identity could withstand the harshest attempts at erasure. Even in the realm of religion and spirituality, traces of Igbo identity persist. Enslaved Africans brought with them their reverence for ancestors, their belief in the spiritual connection between the living and the dead, their use of rituals, and their understanding of the universe as interconnected. These traditions survived, though sometimes hidden beneath the cloak of new faiths imposed on them. They lived on in the ring shouts of the American South, in the ceremonies of voodoo in Haiti, in the obeah practices of the Caribbean, and in the cultural memory of African Americans, who might not know the exact names of the traditions, but still live their essence. To this day, scholars trace aspects of these practices back to Igbo roots, proving that even when scattered, even when forbidden, identity has a way of resurfacing. The diaspora did not forget, it adapted, transformed, and carried forward. The unbreakable identity of the Igbo also reveals itself in the way Black communities in the diaspora built resilience out of struggle. Generations who grew up under systemic oppression in lands far away from their ancestors' soil still inherited the same refusal to bow. From the fight against slavery to the fight for civil rights, from the movements for independence in the Caribbean to the modern struggles for justice in the United States, one can see the spirit of Igbo heritage reflected in the determination to survive, to resist, and to create. Identity in the diaspora was never just about survival, it was about building something new while holding on to the essence of the old. This is why we see so much pride in African roots among diaspora communities. Even when history tried to silence it, even when generations were cut off from direct memory of their homelands, the heritage still spoke in their blood, in their art, in their defiance, and in their vision for freedom. One of the clearest ways this identity manifests is in the art. African American music, from blues to jazz to hip-hop, carries within it rhythms and expressions that trace back to Igbo traditions of song and storytelling. Caribbean drumming and dance still echo the steps of Igbo ancestors. Literature, poetry, and oratory in the diaspora often channel the same patterns of Igbo proverbs, where wisdom is wrapped in metaphor and truth is delivered in rhythm. These are not coincidences, they are the fingerprints of heritage, the proof that identity is not erased by separation, but reinvented in every generation. The diaspora is filled with living monuments of Igbo identity, musicians, writers, leaders, thinkers, and ordinary people whose creativity carries forward what their ancestors first planted. But perhaps the most important aspect of this unbreakable identity is the lesson it gives to Africans today. It proves that identity is not fragile. If Igbo heritage could survive the trauma of slavery, the cruelty of plantation life, the silencing of language, and the separation of families, then no challenge faced by Africa today can destroy its soul. The diaspora stands as living evidence that even when stolen, even when uprooted, even when scattered across continents, African identity survives. This is not just history, it is a rallying cry for the present. Africans and people of African descent can look to the Igbo example and see that heritage is not dependent on borders, on possessions, or even on proximity to homeland. Heritage lives in spirit, and as long as people honor it, it endures. This is why the unbreakable identity of the Igbo in the diaspora is so crucial in shaping African identity today. It connects the struggles of the past to the struggles of the present, reminding every Black child that they are part of a lineage that refused to be erased. It shows that the pain of slavery and displacement did not destroy identity, but instead spread it across the world, planting seeds of African pride in lands far from the continent. It teaches that even in the darkest moments, resilience shines brightest, and it challenges Africans everywhere to embrace the power of their heritage. The Igbo did not let slavery define them. They defined themselves through resistance, resilience, and remembrance, and in doing so, they gave a gift to all Africans, proof that identity cannot be broken. This is the legacy of the Igbo in the diaspora, and it continues to live because identity is stronger than oppression, because spirit is stronger than chains, and because memory is stronger than time. The heritage of creativity and innovation among the Igbo people is one of the clearest signs that Africa has always been a continent of builders, thinkers, and creators. Long before outsiders came to write their own stories of so-called civilization, the Igbo did not wait for the world to teach them how to create. They built from within, pulling inspiration from the soil, from the rivers, from the skies, and from the human spirit itself. Their legacy of craftsmanship and invention is not just a matter of ancient artifacts or buried treasures. It is a living current that has flowed through centuries and still pulses in the modern world. To speak about Igbo creativity is to speak about an identity rooted in the belief that no obstacle is too great to overcome, that no scarcity is permanent, that out of nothing something can always be made. It is to acknowledge a people who understood that survival required imagination and that imagination could give birth to greatness. When archaeologists uncovered the bronzes of Igbo-Ukwu, they were astonished, for here lay works of such sophistication that they defied the narrow timelines outsiders had written about African history. These bronzes, crafted with extraordinary precision, showed patterns and techniques that revealed not only technical mastery but also a deep artistic vision. To create such works required not only skill but innovation, the ability to look at metal and see beyond its raw form, to shape it into symbols of culture and memory. These bronzes were not isolated experiments, they were part of a tradition that showed the Igbo capacity to imagine beyond the ordinary and to leave behind proof that their minds were as sharp as their hands were steady. In every curve of bronze, in every detail etched with patience, the Igbo declared that Africa was not a land waiting to be civilized, but a land already filled with civilization. But Igbo creativity was never confined to art alone. Their economic systems displayed a remarkable genius that still inspires Africans today. The Igbo marketplace, alive with color, sound, and energy, was more than a place of buying and selling. It was an ecosystem of innovation. Traders developed networks that stretched across regions, linking communities and webs of exchange that carried not just goods but ideas. The Igbo were known for their entrepreneurial spirit, for the way they turned small beginnings into thriving ventures. They understood risk, investment, and reward long before these terms were captured in textbooks. A young trader could start with a handful of goods, and through diligence, negotiation, and vision, he or she could build wealth that supported entire families. This spirit of commerce was a form of innovation, a declaration that survival was not enough, that prosperity could be created even in environments of scarcity. And this spirit still lives on today. For wherever you find Igbo people, you find the energy of entrepreneurship, the ability to transform challenge into opportunity. The creativity of the Igbo also reveals itself in their community structure. They invented systems of governance without kings, building consensus through councils, age grades, and assemblies. This was not merely politics, it was innovation and social engineering. They found ways to balance authority and freedom, to include multiple voices without descending into chaos. The genius of this system lies in its resilience, for it adapted to the needs of the community and gave everyone a stake in the outcome. When modern societies search for models of inclusive governance, they need only look to the Igbo heritage, which long ago demonstrated that human creativity can design systems where power serves the people instead of controlling them. In the modern era, Igbo creativity has become a symbol of African possibility. After the devastation of the Biafran War, when their homeland lay in ruins, many predicted that the Igbo would remain broken. Yet from the ashes of loss, they rebuilt with astonishing speed. Their towns revived, their businesses flourished, their children filled classrooms, and their voices rose again in politics, arts, and science. This rapid rebirth was not by accident. It was the result of a deep cultural belief that no obstacle is permanent, that every setback is a chance to innovate, that every wound can give birth to new strength. This resilience is a form of creativity, for it takes imagination to look at ruins and see a future, to look at scarcity and see abundance, to look at hardship and see opportunity. One of the most striking ways Igbo creativity shapes African identity today is through their global presence. The Igbo diaspora, spread across continents, carries this spirit wherever they go, in cities of Europe, in the Americas, across Africa itself. Igbo entrepreneurs, scholars, artists, and innovators are building legacy. They establish businesses that employ thousands. They excel in universities. They lead in technology. They write books, compose music, and produce films that tell African stories in new ways. Each of these achievements is a continuation of the same heritage that produced the bronzes of Igbo-Ukwu and the bustling markets of centuries past. The world sees them as ambitious and resilient, but what they are truly witnessing is the living power of Igbo innovation. The creativity of the Igbo has also left deep marks on African cultural expression. Music and dance among the Igbo are not mere entertainment, they are inventions of rhythm and movement that carry history and philosophy within them. The masquerades that weave between the living and the spiritual, the dances that tell stories of harvest and war, the instruments that echo the heartbeat of the land, all of these are forms of creativity that remind Africans of the depth of their heritage. These cultural innovations have influenced not only Nigerian identity but also the wider African cultural landscape, showing that art is not separate from survival but a vital part of how a people understand themselves and project their identity to the world. Perhaps most importantly, Igbo creativity teaches Africa that innovation is not foreign. Too often history has been written to suggest that Africans must look outside themselves to find progress, to copy models from the West, or to wait for outsiders to bring solutions. The Igbo heritage dismantles that lie. It proves that Africa has always been inventive, that Africans have always been capable of creating systems, technologies, and cultures that rival any in the world. It teaches young Africans that the capacity to innovate is in their blood, in their history, in their very identity. To honor Igbo creativity is to honor Africa's potential, to understand that the future does not need to be imported but can be built from within. This is why the heritage of Igbo creativity and innovation still shapes African identity today. It is a constant reminder that progress is not new to Africa, it is ancient, that resilience is not a modern lesson, it is a historical truth, that greatness is not something to aspire to as if it were foreign, but something to reclaim because it has always been ours. From the bronzes of Igbo-Ukwu to the bustling markets, from the rebuilding after war to the rise of global entrepreneurs, the Igbo heritage stands as proof that Africa's hands have always been skilled, its minds have always been sharp, and its spirit has always been inventive. The story of the Igbo is the story of Africa's endless capacity to create, to innovate, and to thrive no matter the circumstance. The Igbo language is more than words, it is memory, it is rhythm, it is power, it is the bridge that ties the living to the ancestors and the unborn. It is the vessel through which identity has traveled across centuries and survived storms that sought to silence it. When one listens to Igbo spoken, when one hears the rise and fall of its tones, when one feels the weight of its proverbs or the music of its folk tales, one is not simply hearing communication but an entire philosophy of life, a record of history, a library of wisdom, and a testimony of resilience. In every syllable is the echo of generations that refuse to let their worldview vanish. In every saying is a condensed form of truth that carried people through war, through famine, through slavery, and through colonial rule. The Igbo language is not just the property of those who speak it, it is the inheritance of Africa, because in it lies proof that identity does not survive on monuments or in textbooks alone, but in the spoken breath of a people who will not let themselves be forgotten. From the earliest days of Igbo life, language was the thread that bound communities together. It was in the market square where traders bargained not only with goods but with words, weaving proverbs into their speech to persuade, to warn, to encourage. It was in the family compound where elders instructed children not with strict rules but with parables, where lessons were wrapped in imagery so vivid that they became unforgettable. It was in the festivals where songs told stories of harvest, of bravery, of love, of the gods and the spirits, teaching both history and morality through melody and rhythm. Language was never mere conversation, it was art. It was instruction, it was identity. And in the Igbo world, the proverb was king, for it distilled whole philosophies into a few words, sharp and powerful. A proverb could guide a dispute, seal an agreement, inspire courage, or remind a fool of his place. In Proverbs lay the memory of countless generations, and through them the Igbo reminded themselves that they were never alone in the present, that their ancestors spoke with them and through them. Colonialism struck directly at the heart of this heritage by trying to erase African languages and replace them with the tongue of empire. The colonizers understood that to destroy a people's memory, one must silence their language, because language carries not only identity but worldview. English was forced into schools, laws, churches, and courts, while Igbo was pushed into the corners of villages, whispered at home, sung in secret, kept alive in defiance. Children were punished for speaking their language in classrooms. told that it was backward, primitive, unfit for modern life. But the Igbo refused to let go. They clung to their proverbs, they carried their folk tales. They spoke in their compounds even when they were forbidden in the public square. They used language as resistance. The survival of the Igbo tongue is itself a victory, a rebellion against erasure, a declaration that heritage cannot be destroyed as long as it lives in the voices of the people. This struggle to preserve language is not just an Igbo story, it is an African story. Across the continent, tongues were silenced, dialects abandoned, and histories endangered. Yet the Igbo example shows that language can survive even under the harshest of pressures if the people refuse to surrender it. Today, when Africans everywhere fight to revive their languages, to teach them in schools, to write in them, to record their literature, they are walking in the same path the Igbo walked, resisting the idea that identity must be spoken in foreign words. Language is power because it shapes thought. It molds culture, it defines how a people see the world. When one speaks Igbo, one does not merely choose a vocabulary. One steps into a worldview where community is central, where ancestors are present, where the environment speaks, and where life is understood in balance. That is why preserving Igbo language is not only a matter of heritage but a matter of survival, because when a language dies, an entire way of thinking disappears with it. In the diaspora, fragments of Igbo language still enslaved ancestors carried words across the ocean, embedding them into new dialects, hiding them in songs, mixing them into the languages of their new language. Some of these words still exist in the Caribbean, in African American vernacular, in spiritual practices where chants and prayers echo Igbo syllables. Even when the full language could not be carried intact, the spirit of Igbo communication, its rhythms, its cadences, its love of proverbs, continued to shape the speech of their descendants. In this way, language became memory even for those who could not consciously recognize its root. The very patterns of how they spoke and thought bore the fingerprints of Igbo heritage, proving once again that identity cannot be erased. Modern Igbo writers, poets, and musicians have carried this struggle into new forms, using language as a weapon of cultural defense. They write in Igbo to keep it alive. They embed Igbo words in English literature to remind the world of its presence. They sing in Igbo to declare that their tongue will not be silent. This artistic commitment is more than personal, it is national, continental, and global because it connects Africans everywhere to the truth that to lose language is to lose memory. The popularity of Igbo music today, the pride with which youth are returning to learn and speak their mother tongue, is evidence that the battle for language is far from over and that victory is still possible. Every child who learns a proverb, every youth who chooses to sing in Igbo, every writer who pens stories in their ancestral tongue is part of the fight to keep Africa's memory alive. Language is also power in the sense that it unites. When Igbo people gather even across the seas, the language becomes the thread that instantly binds them, reminding them that they are one people no matter the distance. It carries authority because in its words live the weight of ancestors. An elder speaking in Igbo does not merely share opinion, he or she channels centuries of wisdom, making every word a continuation of tradition. This is why language must be cherished, because it is not only sound but spirit. Not only communication but connection. Without it, people drift into forgetfulness, but with it they stand rooted in strength. Today, the lesson of Igbo language is urgent for all of Africa. It shows that colonization may have imposed foreign tongues, but it never erased the native ones completely. It shows that even if a language declines, it can be revived if the people choose to breathe life into it again. It shows that language is not only about speech but about identity, and that the battle to preserve it is the battle to preserve the soul of a people. Every time Igbo is spoken, every time its proverbs are used to settle disputes, every time its folktales are told to children, Africa is reminded that memory lives in words and that words are weapons against forgetting. This is why the Igbo language still shapes African identity today, because it stands as a testimony that memory can resist erasure and that power lies not only in armies or wealth but in the spoken breath of a people. As long as Igbo words are spoken, as long as proverbs are remembered, as long as songs are sung, the African spirit cannot be silent.